So Chapter 4 talks about how program strategies have to address the growing number of available unstructured program options. The definition of online programming is kind of fuzzy and evolving, but the kind of online program content is programs, enhancing information, and interactive games. There's two categories of web programs: the repurposed showings of original TV programs and original content made for online distribution. It talks about a third category, which is the interactive games, where you get to feel like you're participating in the action. Of all the types of online content, web programs are the biggest threat to traditional media, it said. Basically, viewers can watch repurposed content originally on television wherever and whenever they want now. Then it talks about Wi-Fi's role and how users can now transmit streams of data within a close geographic area without the need of wires. And the home, you can now get that kind of content outside of the home as well, because now every coffee shop around the corner and most places of business have Wi-Fi. Repurposed content on the web usually takes the form of television shows or movies, it said. The major providers being Netflix, Hulu, Plus, Amazon, and these companies rely mostly on paid prescriptions. But made for online content is usually always free and advertiser supported. Netflix was the first major supplier of professionally produced content, reducing DVD sales when it came out. Then it goes just a little into the differences between the major online providers like Hulu and Amazon and iTunes and how they compare with Netflix. It talks about the upstarts like Walmart, who started its own online video streaming called Vudu. It talks about Mobi TV and how it offers live streaming to cell phone users. But YouTube is by far the most popular streaming site, and most of its content is user-generated content. Been creating, of course, dozens of channels on YouTube, and it's become a web-based video on demand, basically. And I thought it was interesting that 3/4 of the content comes from outside the US that's on YouTube. But right now, YouTube is advertiser supported. Then it talks about some sites that are similar to YouTube, like Blip TV, Vimeo, and other minor competitors of YouTube like the Justin.tv, VO, Flickr, and some things like that. Basically what it comes down to is that the user-generated content is unique and it competes for audiences that might otherwise watch other forms of television. Then it talks about what it calls clip culture, which is basically saying that viewers have acquired shorter attention spans, which it's the huge number of short online videos that creates that kind of shorter attention span. Then it talks about how the internet has led to a kind of promotion that goes beyond word of mouth advertising. It talks about viral communication and viral videos, which we all know about. Talks about how videos are ubiquitous, and one reason for that is because they're so easily shared, which can create the viral videos, meaning that they're shared a certain number, which has to be a huge number to become technically viral. Anything that expands or prolongs or enriches regular television viewing is what this chapter called enhancement. And one way to enhance is to have references or links to websites, online viewing features like the sporting events, using backstories or interviews, stuff like that. But the other widely used enhancement is Twitter, which has changed live viewing by allowing people to directly become involved live, as well as having two-way communication, like during a live event like the Oscars. Then it talks about TV apps. One of the simplest was called the TV Chatter. It talks about NBC Live and how it has the most elaborate app. It talks about check-in sites where viewers tell what they're watching right now, like miso and tuna fish. Then it goes into talking a little bit about the MMOGs, which are massively multiplayer online games, which have hundreds of thousands of online friends. An example would be like World of Warcraft. when an innovation comes along that fundamentally changes the way people view the world, the term that they used was discontinuous change. It talks about day parting and how it's a typical goal. The typical goal is to target sizable groups of people. It also mentions that nowadays the typical online viewer is no different than the typical television viewer, so the strategies for cable and cable-themed channels is similar kind of to the online strategies that they use today. For online, the job of habit formation is basically to create a site that has a good first impression and having the most user-friendly appearance and content, so people will think that it's the best site for that category. The one way that they do this is to cross-promote, which is promote a new different program on the screen of an established program. Just like TV programmers recycle content, online programmers put as much material on their online menu as possible. The thing for online programmers is that they don't have to do reruns because everything's continuously available. Again, like TV, online programmers have the choice to narrowcast unique content or to broadcast mainstream content. Talks a little bit about linear and nonlinear content and how it's suggested that for linear content, which is your regular broadcast and cable TV, they should use emergent content like the morning news and sports, live events, stuff like that. For nonlinear content, like the internet TV, they should use evergreen content, is what they called it, like sitcoms and movies and documentaries. It says that online programmers have to use a mix of mass marketing and an abundance of online spots and on-screen innovations. For promoting videos, programmers can use things like asking viewers to share the video or to leave a comment, like social media, like Facebook and Twitter. Those are good ways to do that. Talks about banner ads, how they have an online reach of a small targeted group of online viewers, but it's important to reach a wider audience to get new viewers. But it also emphasizes the need for online programmers to use traditional and other media to get their message out, like print and radio and television. Then it talks a little bit about Nielsen and net ratings and the media metrics measure, and how they measure the size of the online audiences using two different methods, the online panels and the server-side audits, both of which report mostly the CUMEs. But getting this measurement is pretty difficult, and it's made harder by things like multiple interactions on the PC. The website's up, but the user is doing something completely unrelated. Things like that can mess with it. So measurements of time spent viewing are hard to catch also. So basically what's going to happen as far as strategy goes with major film studios and the other old media, one strategy would be an adaptive strategy, buying into the new environment. But the old way of packaging shows in arranged schedules is not likely to go away anytime soon. So what it comes down to is that people do want interactivity. First it was with their computers, and now they're most likely going to want it with their old media, like television and stuff like that. So that's basically what it talks about.